100% on our way to the moon.
Moontrain's on point, we're in the groove, trading like a symphony.
The Dow is over $50,000. I don't know why you're laughing. You're a great stock trader.
We're on the moon train.
Then we watched you guys land on the moon.
This is how you become a day
There is
trader.
a chance that whether it's later today, tomorrow, in a couple days, we may have something to say. But this issue needs to be solved, as the president has said, one way or the other. Iran can never have a nuclear weapon. The straits need to be opened without tolls. They need to turn over their enriched uranium. They need to turn over their highly enriched uranium. We need to address that issue. We need to address the issue of enrichment. These are the president's points consistently. And his preference is always to deal with it in a diplomatic way. The president's preference is always to solve problems such as these through a negotiated diplomatic solution. That's what we're working on right now. But this problem will be solved, as the president's made clear, one way or the other. We hope it's done through the diplomatic route. That's what we're working on, and perhaps there'll be something to talk about on that topic while I'm here on this visit at some point.
Okay, so this is a developing situation. We sold off of a Friday's high after that gap fill, and this turn of event is now at least pumping the weekend Wall Street futures a little bit. So Bitcoin still looks like shit, but again, I think crypto here will look like shit because of all the IPOs, because money needs to come out of somewhere at first, right? So this market analysis is going to cover the two outcomes of this news event regarding the deal with Iran, and then what happens after. Okay, and it's very important that you remember that it's a full moon on next week Sunday, and this is a 4-day trading week. Okay, now on Friday, after the choppiest, violent, difficult week in living memory, at least that's what it felt like. It was not easy. It was really not easy, and it just shows how dialed in and in tune we are with the amount of success we found in this market. And again, just to recap a little bit, we've been playing upside since me and Todd together, hand in hand on the train, decided that 9 on the fear and greed index had happened before, and that was the low, and it happened to be the low again. So now you know for the future. Meanwhile, ever since we hit here, Twitter has been telling you to buy puts, and that's not to say that there hasn't been good scalps, but we've clearly gone up on the fucking chart. Now I'm gonna say this, and I want you to again forget everything you think you know and perceive as possibility in the future. You have a president who's made over 4,000 trades in freaking Q1 and Q2, probably more than that, who again on Friday said that the market will go higher now that we got a new Fed chair. So you will see all over Twitter this candle, shooting star, gravestone doji, whatever you want to fucking call it. Again, I'm going to repeat what I said here, even though we were down the next day here because that candle was red, is that unless you get this candle through a Bollinger Band, it does not carry the same merit. Quickly over to here to the Dow Jones that did put in a all-time high. This candle, however, is above the Bollinger Band. So unless you get super positive news buy open and in this volatile market having it hold, the direction is going to be down. Okay, but if you get good news, like it looks like might be brewing, I would think it's quite a big candle. Now, with that said, like any big news candles, you need to be in it in order to catch it, and then they need to be absorbed until you can get further continuation. As of right now, for Tuesday we have early low, Wednesday early low, Thursday early high, trend change window initiated, and then Friday early high. So what's going on here? Well, this pattern that we had on Friday usually resolves with a high in the final hour. Tried that, got fucking smoked a little bit on my SPX YOLOs after a great day, but we did swing QQQ into the day. We did ride this up, and it is vital that you pay attention right now. This is not to take away or give someone anything or anything else besides showing that FOMO can be a motherfucker. And I feel like I traded MU like a fiddle last week, and I remember when I sold my MU, my last MU, that a few people, and there's nothing wrong with it, in the chat was saying, hey, it could go to fucking 800 today, right? But I just want to point out, so that you can learn why I sold my MU right fucking there. And that was kind of my last big trade of the day. Then I did try SPX here, it didn't fucking work, and then I grabbed that swing. The reason I sold it here is, as you know, I followed MU all week based on the premiums. I kept reading the premiums, I kept reading the chart, had the ghost, had everything. Just look at this chart, how fucking horrendous it is. Okay, choppy, all about premium pumps. I read about a guy who lost several millions holding this week. So when I say pay attention right now, pay attention right now. The reason I sold here is I could not only sense that it was not gonna go over, but you have a clear Bollinger Pierce on the 5 minute. You have a Stowe maxing out. Every pop has been sold off on this thing. We've played it from sub 700 to 780. There is no reason not to sell it on a Friday, especially since the characteristics has now changed on this. These you ripped for 3 Fridays all the way into close. Didn't do it last week, didn't do it this week. Okay? Just wanted to point that out. Like, you have to, in this market, stay on top of your brain. If you do not stay on top of your brain, you will make a wrong decision. Once you make a wrong decision in this market, it will snowball and you can lose big money that way. Okay, so I don't want anyone going forward this next week that will not be easy to be like, oh, I fucking missed it or this and that. We take calculated risks, and I said all day the trade plan for Friday was to swing those QQQs in. Why? Because we had hit the first ghost here. This was a bullshit move. We had the second ghost, we caught that, boom, and then we have one down to here, which will print next week. they already try to get there. They might get there with futures real quick on Sunday and then rip it up if we get good news. Now, if we do not get good news, this market's screwed for a little bit, because you did go and gap fill, right? You went here, you gap filled, and then you had quite the strong sell signal, right? However, I'm not gonna buy puts until this market starts fucking selling. Okay? You have a situation where you need, and I'm gonna explain this in very simple terms. You need a deal. If you don't get a deal, you can't attack Iran again. You need a deal, then you need them not to follow through on the deal. Otherwise, it goes from a political nightmare to the political nightmare of all time. See what I'm saying? So while you have, Netanyahu crying about fucking, hey, we need to attack them, blah, 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 blah. This is what you need to do. I mean, Twitter is one thing, and then the chart says something else. So you've gone and gap filled. Yet this is a strong pattern that should have a high in the final hour. Now, again, and you can mark them. This is a downside target. This is a downside target. This is a downside target. These are downside targets. This is a downside target. This is one. This is one. These are downside targets. This is the last FOMC line. Okay. We will trade as much under it at some point. These will all hit when the system does not leave targets. It's not gonna go hit. Okay, might take some time, but all those alerts are going to hit. Now, it also left this as a target and says this sell is fake. So that's why I took those 474s. Best case scenario, you get a fucking absolute stick like you got on the first deal. Worst case scenario, the sell is on and we are 95% cash and we'll play a pump into the full moon, meaning the weekend, in hopes of reaching a deal. Okay? Because I don't think they're going to outright start the war up again. That's absolutely ridiculous. Okay? If they do, this is kind of funny. If they do, the gamma for Tuesday looks like that. So I've never seen this before. Very, very interesting. What I did see was, again, them buying quite a lot on Friday when it came to flow. They did dump some dark pool on SPY. They bought it up again on, that's a huge dark pool buy. Then they sold off a little bit. Here you compare the MU, which is an actual sell, they didn't quite know how to position themselves. It more so looks like a rotation more than anything. I mean, why would they be buying SPY and Dow Jones like this and get that big of a chunk of QQQ if we weren't going up? So that's why I took calls. Okay. Now, if you go, there was massive, and you see, we have, they're not even providing us with all the week's gigs, right? You have hockey sticks here to the downside, plenty if the news is bad, but you can go there if the news is good. Okay. We also have an anomaly. We have this VIX ghost candle as well as this. So at some point we're going to absolutely eat shit. Might be sooner than later. That does not mean we can't go higher. You also have out of China some interesting news when it comes to chips and memory. That China is coming out with their own shit that is rivaling not only MU but Nvidia. Again, not to say that can't also help pump the markets, but the most interesting part about Monday is, as you know, I've used the Vana charts kind of track this rally as opposed to the gamma charts unless it's intraday, and there is a massive Vana node at 76.25 for Monday, and also for 75.75 for next week's Friday. So quite a lot of upside positioning. Okay. It will be the end of the month as well. Next week, Monday we're closed. Tuesday, nothing. Wednesday, really nothing. Then you have core PCE, supposed to come in flat. You have durable goods, supposed to come in at 0.4. You got GDP. Okay, it's supposed to be a big boss, fucking fly me to the moon type of move. So we will kind of have to channel our Bill O'Reilly and do it live, because a lot depends obviously on if this deal gets made before the markets open or not, or if they're gonna string us along with that being a carrot now in the Warsh era that we are in. We will see. Will BB right there, who's highly concerned that Trump will make a deal, get his way, or will we again to position us politically better first make a deal? Okay, very, very interesting. Next week, Dell that Trump has bought has earnings. Marvel, that we played a little bit. You got the cloud names. Yeah, some interesting names. I think personally I'm gonna stick to SPY, QQQ. I don't know if I'll trade as much SPX this week because it was just pretty tricky this week, even though I found great success. But the market's very, very volatile. You have this ghost down here. It'll print next week, if not straight out of the gate. You also have that one down to 700 on QQQ. So again, the up move here needs to happen before open, literally, and hold. If that happens, you might even catch another high into Friday after consolidating for a few days. If the sell is on, QQQ goes to 700. Okay? And you all traded this week. I mean, this shit here was some of the craziest trading I've ever seen. So the goal needs to be, don't get fucked. I will be looking at MU again, but it's looking a little, it's lost some of its spunk here. And the chart agrees with me. Frankly, it could do good from going down here to fill these two gaps for another run. Nvidia, if these China dealings are real, might catch a bid. Meta was surprisingly strong last week. Tesla will probably, I mean, look at this shit, will probably be interesting into the IPO, and that IPO is gonna suck money left and right. So as far as crypto, when it's time, hood, not right now. So I'll be trading indices, and then whatever might move. Apple pulled the all-time higher again for no reason, so that's kind of what we're dealing with, is whatever moves. You try to catch a move and pre-position, more importantly. We will be checking the intraday gamma. We will be playing the fucking ping pong. I noticed last week that I kind of sat around too much and watched the screens, and I'm going to focus on executing during the IB session, and then maybe an overnight swing, maybe not. I try to be a little bit more disciplined, because that can't hurt, at least. Alright, another brilliant week. I think number 7 or 8 in a row. We'll continue building on it. Absolutely historic market. And again, remember, the NAMO is king, and if you get a upward cross here right now, it's gonna be absolute party time for a little bit. Okay, and I wanted to leave you with this nugget. This is the 4-hour US 500 chart inside candle. The 21 is crossing the 50 to the upside. Last time the 21 crossed the 50 to the upside was on a beautiful day at the beginning of April. Okay? So there is a chance that this is a cup and you get a continuation candle, or you pull back and then you go. So again, when everybody tells me that the market is only gonna go higher, after being the guy who says since 6:30 that we're going higher, then I'll start shopping for those boots. Okay? God bless, guys. I appreciate you. I appreciate this group. It's a pretty incredible thing that we've all become a huge part of, and that's fucking awesome. So I will see you guys on Tuesday. God bless, and pray for peace.
We're riding with the